I wanted to do another video talking about some interesting behaviors with alignment systems and our static dot system. So once you enable snapping, dots is enabled. However, in the drop down, we can toggle this over to static dots. Previously, I was talking about alignment preview, but I just want to note that even with alignment preview off, you can still hold control and roll over dots in order to get alternative alignments. One of the previous improvements that we did was improving upon our ability to use repeat and also having repeat track depth. So here I am extruding a circle inside, and we'll press J to turn that to a join. I'll use Control D to just quickly make this a 32 round cylinder in the helper, and then we'll click to apply. And from here we'll change our operation over to join, and we'll hover over this vertex in the corner, and by rolling the wheel twice we see that we now have an angle that's counter angled to this particular vertex. So just Control double clicking, as you see, allows us to quickly place an object there as well, oriented to the dot presentation that we were looking at. I'll press Q, go into ever scroll, and we'll just lower it down just a little bit, and we see that the corner gets exposed if we go too low, so maybe about there will be fine. From here I'll press Alt V, jump over to wireframe, and this is where the fun begins. So we could just, let's tab in edit mode on the actual selected object. We could just try to merge and bevel and promote it from here. However, I like to actually experiment a little bit with weld in this example, where basically we can roll in some segments about 4, matching up to this area roughly, and that area a little more rough, and we can actually use ever scroll and recall this cylinder and press RZZ and rotate it ever so slightly just to be more accommodating to the geometry just added. This area is still not going to behave the same, but this area is about as close as it gets. And we can go under modifiers, just Control click weld, and just roll the wheel a couple of times in order to merge these areas with their nearest counterparts. And just like that, we've been able to add this area in a little bit more fluidly than normal, except it could be better. So what I'll do is press D, jump out to circle, but press X and turn it into a cut, and we'll just lower that down a little bit. And for this area, I want to actually pause dots, and we want to switch back to cut, where I can bring in a piece like this, use taper in order to bring it in a little bit. And with our dot still frozen in this state, that means that I can grab this area, press Y, extract that, press escape to remove the previous dots, and then basically repeat the same shape that we just created in another area. So by Control clicking bevel, we've now promoted this to a bevel modifier, and by Alt clicking sharpen, we put a weighted normal. And so let's take a look at our handiwork after mirroring this on all 3 axes. Press Alt V to get out of wireframe, and this is basically our result. So I just wanted to show a little bit about how you can use static dots in certain situations in order to get more predictable results. However, let's say we want to fix that area. We could press Q, go back to ever scroll, RZZ, and we just roll it ever so slightly so that it merges cleanly, but it does compromise this area, and it also compromises this area. So you always want to be careful with the amount of points that you're giving to your shape. Maybe something like a delicate balance. We could also go inside the weld and just roll the wheel to actually get it to a higher number, and we see that weld was actually able to save the day when it came to shading with this particular area. We can even go into bevel modifier and increase it a little bit. However, the rim is actually so thin up here that it's going to provide a bit of a limit. So let's ever scroll, bring this piece back, and I just want to make sure my origin is set to the top, and we'll just scale that in ever so slightly. And now we see that despite these being merged at angles, that we were able to get fairly adequate shading. And with that, I'll wrap up this video, and I'll see you guys next time.